I want to take a moment to invite us into a beautiful presence here. And so if you're willing, let's just hang out for a few. And as always, I want to speak about this in the most grounded and practical way, but also leaving room for the great mystery where none of this really has to make any sense. You know, sometimes when I'm feeling my insides all twisted up, when I'm feeling lost or confused, I'll take a step outside and look up and just kind of ask, what's going on here? Why this and why that? What is this and what is that? And even now, I hear the birds singing. And of course, I'm sure there's moments in my life where I might think, why are the fucking birds even singing? And the conclusion that I seem to always find myself coming back to is very simply for the love of God. Of course, if someone told me that 15, 20 years ago, I'd be like, well, that's dumb. That's not an answer. But I want to dive into this a little bit because it releases so much pressure on the inside of what I am and reminds me a little bit more about the miracle we're all swimming in. Let me jump to the conclusion here. And that conclusion is the realization that everything that is going on, everything that's happening, it's not about me. It's about the love of God. And again, that phrase, the love of God, can be so twisted and so misunderstood and so bastardized. But I love the playful challenge of maybe bringing a bit of clarity where that actually makes sense. Where we can see deeply for ourselves that it's true. That this whole show, this whole thing called life is about the love of God. And what it's not about, said in the most compassionate way, is you. Because can we just be honest, please? Whatever the difficulty is, whatever the flavor of suffering might be, behind that is the assumption that whatever is happening is somehow about you. That somehow life is in your way and you're not getting what you want. We're so tied up in this dance, thinking that this whole life thing is happening so that you can get what you want. And I'd like to expose something so much more real than that. So how do we talk about that? The love of God. I think in a direct way to bring immediate clarity is recognizing that it's not about the sentence. It's not about the words. It's about what is attempted to be exposed beyond the words. It's an invitation to see something that only the heart can see. And of course, if the mind tries to make sense of this, good luck. Maybe we just have to step outside of ourselves for a moment. Step outside of our own narratives, our stories and our assumptions, our thoughts about who we are, who other people are, where we're going. And just come back to this moment and see life. There's something magical about this, about taking a moment to just be present, to lay down all the thinking, and truly see what's actually here right now. And do you notice if there's any barrier to that? Like if you just can't be peacefully present, it's because the mind is racing on about something that's not really here right now. You see, my friends, to be alive, okay? To simply be alive. The fact that any of this is even happening at all. The fact that the birds are singing. The fact that there's sunshine or a moon. The fact that there are 10 billion things times 10 billion things, all profoundly needed in order for this aliveness to be the aliveness. So this life might be life. And everything that is, I don't even want to say everything that is alive, but just everything that is gifted this opportunity to be what it is. Do you see that everything that is, from life's perspective, it's allowed to be what it is? Everything that is completely held as it is. Sure, you in your mind can argue with things. You can have thoughts about things, but still, whatever that thing is held, allowed, gifted an opportunity to be. And what I'm tiptoeing toward here is a container that loves all that is. If we could paint a picture that illustrates love, can you see such a love that is just so allowing? A love that is just freely given, that says, be what you are. No argument and no demand that says you should be different. Nothing that withholds a freedom. It's a love that lets go of you and says, be. We can look at the unconditional love of a mother towards her child, where this child can do nothing to lose mother's love. The child is allowed, and naturally the child gets to experience consequences, natural consequences. If you touch this, it might hurt. That's hot. Right? It's not a punishment. That's just the way it is. And I love you. You're allowed to be. The fire is allowed to be. Gravity is allowed to be. Everything is allowed to be. And in the freedom of everything being what it is, you get to find a way to play in it in a way that honors what everything is. In the same way that a mother creates a child inseparable from love, everything in life created by life, inseparable from love, inherently loved, inherently accepted, inherently allowed to be what it is. And we human beings, my goodness, how much we fight that. How much we fight our inheritance of love. Because look at what happens here. Life says, I love you, be what you are. And the human being says, nope, I'm not lovable. Nope, I can't be myself. Someone might not like me. No, I don't look how I think I'm supposed to look. I don't want your love yet. Let me go fix myself first. And what I see on the human journey, and this is unendingly fascinating, how everything I go through, if I'm paying attention, is pointing me back to see God's love. Is pointing me back to see God's love for what I am. Because look at what happens here. If we look at the human being's struggle, which we can say, boiled down, is the assumption that you're not worthy of love, that you're unlovable. Look at the discord this creates in the human experience. Look at the violence that comes from this. And in contrast, if that's the underlying issue that makes life problematic, then what happens when we realize that we are not separate from this love? And you know what separates us from this love? Again, using silly words. What separates us from this love is us wanting this life thing to be about something other than God's love. It's about us wanting this life thing to be about you. And I don't know about you, but this is just so profoundly true for me. Where the difficulty in the struggle is me wanting it to be about me. Rather than seeing this is about everything. About everything. Everyone. maybe from a practical standpoint, if I look at my skills and my abilities and my talents, I can easily say, oh, this is about me. This is for me. What can I get out of it? You see what kind of mess that creates? But when I realize that what has been given to me has been given so that I can give it to all, it becomes a different dance. I see that I'm not here so much to get something. I'm here to share something. And what am I here to share? God's love. You see, it's not my love. It's God's love. This is such an interesting distinction. And of course, naturally, again, I'm just sharing what rattles around in my own heart. Whether you see it or not, I don't know. Whether it's relevant, I don't know. But it's just so beautifully and painfully obvious of how twisted I get on the inside when I think that this is about something other than God's love. And so I invite you to see if that's true for you, if it's unmistakably obvious that the painful struggle, that underneath it is this assumption that it's about you. That you're not where you think you're supposed to be. And I wonder how much we miss seeing how much we actually have when we're so focused on what we think we don't have. How impossible is it to be present and see what's real and true when we're so busy chasing what we think we don't have? And, talking to myself, it's such a beautiful invitation to just give up everything that I think I want. As if I'm somehow going to complete this quest of making it about me. I don't think so, buddy. You keep running into the same challenge. And you keep coming back to the same conclusion. And fascinatingly, looking at the human journey, I can see that it's not even me that takes care of me. It's been God taking care of me the whole time. I've just been fumbling around. Sometimes it looks like I'm doing it. But really, I'm just playing and learning. And yet underneath all of that, it's life that's holding me. It's life that's taking care of me. Taking care of the realness of me, by the way. That's an important distinction. Because what I see that life is not taking care of is me trying to be better than someone else. Is me wanting to be right. Life is not interested in taking care of my imaginary sense of self-importance. Life is interested in taking care of the heart of what I am, the realness of what I am. So that's the invitation. And whatever it is we're going through, whatever it is that might seem unclear, is it possible that it's all for the love of God? And if you can see that, I wonder what beautiful and creative ways that love of God wants to flow through you and touch everything that you see. You know, I was just having a conversation with someone and we were talking about this, where the love of God is shared from behind your eyes, right? Just in how you see someone. Just as when you look out at nature, it's like handing your eyes over to God and say, you look, show me what you see. Look at this, because it's so incredibly practical that, especially in our human dynamics, when we think we're not getting what we want, right? When we're twisted, how much does that distort how you see people? And yet when you recognized how loved you already are, how whole and complete you already are, do you see that you see them with the eyes of God? And I wonder if you can take a moment to see yourself like that. To come back to the present moment and see yourself the way that God sees you. Not the way you've been religiously conditioned to believe the way that God sees you, but in the same way that God sees everything. In a way that says, I love you and you're free. Be what you are. God says, I created perfection. You think just because the tree is crooked, it's not perfect? You think just because the mud is muddy, it's not perfect? Maybe God knows exactly what God is doing in everything that it creates. And in everything that it creates it so that life can be life. Maybe there's a profound perfection to you as well. I wonder if we're open to see that. Anyway, thanks for playing.